maybe. Okay. I do have my glasses on today. Today's been a it's been a really what kind of a day has it been today? It's been a somber day. It's been a humbling day. That's for sure. It's been a humbling day. It has been a day of thinking. So I have a thought for those of you that are out there in the gambling land, in the gambling world. What happened to you immediately after you won your jackpot? What did you do with the money that you won? What did you do with the jackpot? Maybe the jackpot was substantial. Maybe the jackpot was not as big. I want to welcome those of you that are here tonight just for a little bit. I'm inviting you to hang out here with Santos Jr. here. May God give me a few words of wisdom. I'm going to invite you to subscribe. I'm going to invite you to subscribe. I'm going to invite you to share. I'm going to invite you to leave a comment. I'm going to invite you to like. I'm going to invite you to support this mission. You can donate if you want to. You can donate if you want to. Well, Santos, what do we get in return? Hang around. Hang around, friend. Come on now. I'm giving away a free PDF quick guide. I'm actually giving away a free tool book. I'm giving away a session. Listen, if you are looking to change your mindset, if you want to do this, if you are open to some coaching, one-on-one coaching, absolutely no cost to you. The only thing is, it would be recorded sessions. It would be a video. It would be recorded so that that video, that work that I do with you could be shown to other people that are hanging in the balance. They see the handwriting on the wall, yet they don't know how to interpret that writing on the wall. That's where I can come in. I can grab you by the hand and we can work together. Like I said, I'm willing to do this for one or two individuals, possibly. I don't know how many videos. I'm going to work on a few videos. A few videos that I can use to help other people, because of course eventually it's going to be a way for me to earn income as I continue to get my credentials and pay for future school, I guess, if you will, some schooling. My way of giving back to people that are struggling with gambling, with addiction, with trauma, with sexual abuse, with maybe even narcissistic abuse. Life has just kicked you around. So that's what we're here for. Soldiers of Self-Mastery community. Number one, subscribe, comment, like, and share. And we're going to get into this really quick here. So I don't know who's with me. Again, for the next few minutes, I'm going to be your host. And we're going to talk about this thing, this idea. What have you done with the money that you have won? What have you done with that money that you won in a jackpot or a scratcher, or you got a big fat check from somewhere? What have you done with that? Tell me. Share it in the comments. Not only do I want to hear the negative, but I'd like to hear some positives, if there are any positives, folks. By the way, welcome. We're going to be here for another few minutes. This is Santos Jr. here, live from Stockton, Soldiers of Self-Mastery community. Once again, energetic, motivative. This is recovery time for those of you that are serious about wanting change. You want change. You want nothing but change. Well, you might want some goodies, you know. Maybe you might want a Coke along the way, right? A cheeseburger, maybe a nice drive down Highway 1 before the ocean takes over. Anyhow, we're talking about quitters tonight, all right? We're on the theme of change. And change comes from the Latin word, it means cambiar. Change comes from the Latin word, it means cambiar. All right? Cambiar has to do with exchange or transfer, if you will. It also has to do with the word metamorphosis. Metamorphosis, metamorpho. I believe it was Jesus Christ that said in John chapter 3, verse 3, he said, unless a man is born from above, he cannot enter into the kingdom of heaven. That is a spiritual experience. That is a real soul experience that causes a human being to catapult from being broken, from being unable, to an ability maybe that will never be known, or the roots of that power. The scriptures declare in 2 Corinthians 5:17, therefore, if any man be in Christ, he is a new creature. Old things are passed away. Behold, all things are become new. So, I don't know about you on the other side, but I'm excited to know that there's more than what we're seeing right now around us. As a matter of fact, I thought about this today. It is hard for me to believe today what I see in video. When I see the news clips out there, some video about the floods, horrible floods that are taking place, or earthquakes that are toppling buildings, and all of these horrible things. Sometimes I have to question that, because it's very difficult for me to believe everything that is coming through the airwaves. All right. That's my introduction here for a few minutes. What do you do, or what have you done with your jackpot? Where's it taking you? Let me see who's with me. Race, welcome. I go to work in the morning, he says, all next week, can't wait. I learn how to be more responsible. Calvin and Hope says, we all need Jesus. We're all sinners. Calvin, I'm sorry to joke, but anyone needing real help should seek Jesus. They should submit to God. You can't master yourself. You need Jesus. Well, that's a good thing. One thing I can tell you, Calvin, is that God's mercy is available Yet we also have to understand that we are sinners. We do not, uh, some people, in fact, there's religious organizations that they almost try to um, order God around, like God can do this and the other thing and what have you, and God is like the secret bodyguard type thing. It doesn't work like that. When it comes to God, the creator of the existence of what we even stand on, the fact that we're here in front of each other, we can see each other. There are things floating through the airwaves that we can't see, transmissions that's making all of these things happen. There are laws that are taking place that you and I have no clue how it even got here for us to be doing what we're doing right now. That's the master above. He's got all this wired up. He's got a blueprint. We're down here scratching we're down here scratching, we're sending rockets to Mars and doing all of these big projects, and we're just scratching the surface. God has all of this put together and then some beyond into eternity, whatever that means, because he's all knowing, he's Alpha, he's Omega, he is omnipresent, he is omniscient, he is omnipotent, and he's ever present. So God has all of these qualities that we only can even dream about. And we build things and we scratch surfaces and we dig the earth and we applaud each other and hoop and holler and yay, we done this, and we all along it's been God's grace giving it to us. God's grace. And we can have more, I believe, even as a sinner, as degenerate sinners that we are, addicts. We are just addicts. We are cannibal. We are cannibalists. Oh, yes, we are. Well, let's be real, folks. Most people don't want to be real. But how are you going to heal yourself? Physician, heal thyself. How is Santos going to heal his mind? How is he going to heal his life? How he's going to do that by being open, honest, and real, and even raw. Santos, does that mean that sometimes you got to go against the crowds? Exactly. What do you mean you got to go against the crowds? Sometimes even your own family. Sometimes you have to even turn and go for some space and prayer, away from friends and families and even business people. If that's what it takes for the man or the woman to find themselves. Most people lose big time after they're winning. You have a jackpot, I can almost guarantee you that every single time you will take a big, huge loss afterwards. It's a really fast honeymoon, if you will. You know what I mean? It is probably one of the worst honeymoons. It's like a hangover, actually. It's like you're at the mountaintop, and then a day later, not even, who knows, maybe even just a couple of hours later, you're down in the valley. Because it starts all up here, friends. See, you were at the mountaintop up here also, but before you went down in the valley, before you went down there, before you got broken or you got taken by that business thing, that bad transaction, or you fell into the trap of an argument, whatever it was, you knew, right? You knew, man, you couldn't get it together. And you dropped down in there, and what happened? You slipped into the mud. Like a slithering, slimy, human being as we are, and we're all slimy. I tell you, folks, you got to be real with yourself. Yeah, we've got some good qualities. You know, if you go to the gym, you can work out, maybe drink a lot of water to make yourself look younger, put a lot of makeup on and stuff. Even men that are short, they want to put elevator in their shoes and stuff and elevate themselves 2 or 3 inches. It's really neat how we think, you know, and but anyhow, it's always a major loss, folks. Unless you run. Who runs with it? Let me see who's with me. Anyways, again, hey Jim, welcome. Let me see. I can only get to the last. Tell me about I'm black sheep just for following the Lord's righteousness in my life. I'm surrounded, but they took. Well, Jim, I agree with you 100%. By the way, if we need some moderators, you know who you are. If we need moderators, thank you for the hangout. Again, we're on this topic. We're on this topic of change, right? And you got to understand change. Change is a language. Change is a thought. Change is a study. When I was talking about where does the Latin word, where does the word change come from? It comes from a Latin word in Spanish, right? And it is to change, cambiar, and that word is to transfer. But again, it goes back to this word called metamorphosis, and it's like the butterfly. The butterfly is an interesting creature because it goes through a metamorphosis, and it changes from the inside, right? It doesn't change from the outside. A lot of people trying to change from the outside. Most people try to do things, band-aids and pills and what have yous, and peace pipes, too much of the peace pipe, and then of course the gambling and all of these things. These are all medicines, right? Even too much ice cream with cream soda, too much of that can also become an addiction. And we all have them, whether it's gambling, whether it's playing in the cards, throwing the dice, the craps. We all have it. Again, what's important? You know, what should we be really thinking about? What to do with the money that we won? Is that what's important? Why are we talking about that? What should be really focused on? That ought to really get us to think about where we really are and what we're doing, right? We ask the right questions. We get the right solutions. We get the right momentum. That's what it's all about, folks. That's what change is all about. It's about an environment. It's about hanging around people that are excited about the word change and what it means to change, you know, to barter, to exchange, to transfer. It's not a, it's, yeah, is it a shift of mindset? Eventually it becomes, but you can't just say, okay, man. Some people can say for things, their experiences, addictions, they can say, hey, I'm done with this. I'm going to go cold turkey. I'm done today. I'm stopping and I'm done. I've done it in my own life. I've seen it in my own life. I've seen it in other people's. But for most people, no, it's difficult. You win, you lose. You lose, you win. You win, you lose. You win, win. You lose, 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 lose. You win, you lose, you win. You win, win, you lose, 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 lose. And that's the cycle that it goes just like that. And life, relationships, business, anything that you're dealing with in life goes just like that, unless you are really questioning yourself, questioning your existence, and what the heck you're doing on a daily basis. All right. Okay, I've got a few minutes and then I got to get off the airwaves because I don't see very well at night. Jim says, let me see, what does Jim says? Welcome, Antonio. Are we willing to let go of toxic relationships to change for the better? That's a good question, Jim. Are we willing to go Are we willing to let go? What is it that we have to let go of? We have to understand what we need to let go of and how we're going to let go of it. And again, is it, you have to be committed, right? You have to be committed. This is a painful journey, folks. This is, who wants to be here? Who wants to grow? Who wants to get past the pain? Who wants to learn how to become better as naturally as possible? What does that mean? I don't even believe half of the videos I see on TV anymore, on not on TV, on YouTube or on Facebook or on TikTok, social media. Half of the stuff that I'm seeing, I don't even believe it anymore. It's hard for me to believe. Ray says you have to deal with a problem head on to defeat it. You have to want it. Exactly. And you have to, we are responsible for our own recovery journey. Winning in gambling is worse than losing, and that will make you go back to gambling addiction faster. That is not the solution. Sometimes you do have to get rid of friends who still gamble. A man a man must recognize his environment. A man must recognize his environment. A man must recognize his state. Uh, Man cannot be allowed to be persuaded. In fact, the Bible teaches this, by every wind of doctrine. It's like the wind is blowing. On some days, the wind blows harder. You can see the effects of what the wind does, right? You can see it. You can't see the wind, but you can hear it. And on some days, that wind is harder. It blows more. Same thing with our lives. It's like the wind, the storms, all of these things that are raging. And we have to navigate. We have to trust. We have to trust something, right? You get up in the morning. Oh, I'm going to turn on the news. I'm going to see what's a Good Morning America. NBC. Welcome to the world this morning, 8 a.m. Yeah, you turn on the thing and all you see is all these. You see a few good things. There's always a few. The community, the festival and the farmers market and stuff like that. They're always, but then you got all the other stuff that's going on. Whether you question things and you start your day. You start your day again. Winning, and somebody said, Mr. Keevan, winning is even worse. How much time do we have left to really win? Right? How much time do you really have left of your life to really win? To make a difference in yourself, to make a difference in the community, to do something that maybe you've never done before. Feel purposeful. Feel some kind of purpose for the first time in your life. I can't wait to be on a day like 654 and say I knew I could do this. It's going to be a long-term battle, day by day, man. You know how we can eat an elephant. If there's a bunch of people, we can all eat a big elephant. That's a big task right there. Imagine, I don't know what an elephant would taste like. I don't know that I would eat an elephant unless I absolutely needed to, barbecued trunk, barbecued leg of elephant. I don't know, barbecued side of elephant, um, a barbecued skin. I don't know that I would on maybe under extreme circumstances. You know, I'm in the Sahara Desert and I'm dying, and all there is elephant. But how would we eat the elephant? Right? You can't eat it all whole. It's little bite-sized pieces. Right? Little bite, little bit by little bit, just a little bit. Everybody does their part. So if you do your part, you know, right? You chomp away little by little. Our focus needs to be on today, what we can do today to maintain today. Because if we're thinking ahead too far, well, I don't know. It may work for you. It may not. It may work against you. It may work for you. It may work against you. All right, man. We're coming down to the wire. I'm very grateful for change. How about you guys, man? I'm well. What kind of change, man? I'm talking about pain, getting rid of pain, getting rid of inflammation. You know, getting rid of inflation. You got too much. Some of you got too much inflation in your life. I know. Some people. You know, I ask for $7 donation. Sometimes I scare people away. Right. I try to do things for free. I try to give back. I say, well, Santos, what do you do for $7? What do you ask? You're asking people to donate $7, or you can donate Bitcoin too. You can do that to Cash App there. There's a link. Or, you know, you can always just do a donation, period. Well, I do ask for, I give things away. I try my best to help others. And time and money. You know, people think, well, you just come on here, you know, not sometimes people do donate. I appreciate you for doing that. Sometimes people don't donate at all. I appreciate that too. You know, I leave that up to God, however God wants to work that out. But if I don't ask, you know, the Bible says ask, seek, and knock. If I don't ask, right? If I don't, now, if I was taking the money and spending it on alcohol, imagine I'm getting, you know, maybe, let's just say I get $80 in donations, right, from YouTube. And that takes a while to do it anyways. But imagine that you were using that for alcohol or for other things that, you know, no, man, you know, I have to pay a bill. Obviously, there's a Wi-Fi. There's other things that you have to pay for too to be live, right? And plus time. Anytime that you're investing your time, I come on here, I have to study, I have to read. I can't just come on here every day without just I sleep every day in my van and then I just wake up with a miracle mind. And no, you have to study, you have to read, you have to keep up on shit. You can't just come on here begging people for $7 and just not giving people, you know, I have this young man that I've been kind of coaching with, more or less mentoring, and I hope he's serious. You know, I'm not charging him a dime, but I'm giving him of my time. And I figured, you know, hey, somebody wants to give me $50 or something, $50 for 45 minutes of my time for me to help them coach and unscramble their brain a little bit, because I'm pretty good. My brain is all scrambled up, but I'm pretty good unscrambling yours. How's that for a gift? Anyways, so that's what I do, folks. You know, I can no longer work a physical job anymore. I've tried. I can't do that anymore. So I ask those of you that can support. And when you can, I know some of you that do, I appreciate it. You can. And if you can, hey, we're all in hard times, man. You know, I have a couple charities that honestly, I've slowed down a little bit with because, well, times are a little bit. It's like I don't know about you guys. I have more month at the end of the money instead of having more money at the end of the month. I have it in reverse. Maybe you guys have it the same way. But that's temporary, right? You got to think, well, things happen. You fall into disability, you get injured, you can't work anymore, you get older and stuff like that. You got to find a different type of work. Some people just give up on themselves and, yeah, I'm trying to retire and do all of these things also, but you still, in the meantime, there's a waiting period. I applied for disability. I paid into disability, Social Security and stuff. That still takes time. And then there's a decision being made by people that don't really know you. And hopefully it's going to be in your favor. And then you can have at least a little bit of relief to pay $50 on your credit card next month. Anyhow, so much of that. By the way, skeletons don't fight each other because skeletons do not fight each other because, do you know why? I bet you do know why. All right, who's with me? Come on now. We're at the end of this feed. So thank you for those of you that support. And again, listen, if you can't give $7, I completely understand, but you can give a comment. You can share. You might know somebody that could be hearing this feed right here and really enjoying something from it. You might know somebody that could be listening to this feed and help support financially. You might know somebody, a young person, and I get emails, well, not emails, I'm not going to say emails. I get a lot of comments from young men, students, the parlay bets, the sports betting, the college stuff that's going on in college behind closed doors, these dorms. These colleges are losing a lot of money. They're losing a lot of money. The colleges are. The gambling sites are winning most of it. All right. I'm done. Let me see. Race, my mom and dad. Okay. Who is in your life that can support you? Ray says mom and dad. That's a good support system as long as they're a good support system, right? Because you got to have a good support system to have a good support system, if that makes sense. A good support system supports a good support system. And you got to have a good support system in order to have a good support system. What does a good support system do? A good support system creates an environment. An environment creates an ambience, right? An ambience, like a sauna. What is the ambience of a sauna? The heat, the sweat that you feel. There's a connection there, right? Does that make sense? Anyways, it makes sense to me for the moment. While my mind is drifting away, thinking about something to eat, Antonio says it's the worst when you are trying to quit gambling and no one knows about this. Having to do it alone is tough. Well, the good thing is that Soldiers of Self-Mastery community is us, and we are together. We are together. And one thing about, I'll tell you, one of the fastest ways that you can quit doing drugs or quit drinking or quit doing some other thing is, or at least slow down doing, is to associate with somebody that is actually doing what it is that you want. Does that make sense? When you have the opportunity to associate, because we give off energy. Listen, some people don't really understand that we give off high level energy. I've had a pinched nerve, several of them, in the back of my neck. And they shoot down this arm into these fingers. So right now I can tell you my hand is pretty numb. I can feel my fingers other than this one here, barely feel that. And this one here. There's electricity running out of control in my hand. Actual electricity. In fact, when I wash my hands, it serves as a conductor. It even creates more like a double charge of electricity. So I guess what I'm trying to say is when this electricity is not functioning properly, it causes disruptions, right? You feel it, you know, there's a power. There is a power in human beings that we don't feel unless we feel it. So the best way to get ahead fast, quickly, I'm talking about super fast quantum leaping, folks, is to be around somebody that's doing it. Around somebody that's doing it that you can actually feel the energy. Now, sometimes it could be through the video, sometimes it could be through association, right? Or a book, a tool, etc. That is the fastest way to fight yourself. Uh, when you're working on something by yourself and you don't have anybody that you associate, you don't have a tool, that you don't have a video that you watch, you don't have an environment, it is very difficult. It's friction. You are moving against friction. It's less friction when you have the ambience, is what I was talking about earlier. So we create ambience, right? You want to change your life, get around somebody that is changing. You want to change a specific area of your life, a specific area. You may have to do some homework to find somebody that is very specific in that area. Okay? And if you have the privilege and the pleasure of getting around such a person like that, especially if they're good quality people, okay? People's time costs money. You know, there's doctors out there that prescribe pills. Doctors get paid very well. They get a lot of money. Of course, the pills aren't the very best. They're like a coach. I know some people that go to doctors and they trust those doctors as if they were a very life coach for them. So now they're taking all of this medication, and I'm not saying that you shouldn't take medication. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that you should understand exactly what it is that you're putting into your body. You should have an awareness of that. And they're not thinking well today because of all the stuff that they're taking. They're a little bit mixed up, if you understand that. So, natural healing. We have a power in us. We have an energy. I can definitely feel this energy even though it's out of place, and little by little it's coming together. People give off energy. So we can be proud, we can be proud and say, well, we're tough and I'm a macho man and, I've got muscles and I don't need anybody and I don't need a doctor and I don't need no coach and no consultant and I don't need. Okay. You can continue to struggle by yourself. One day you'll figure it out, maybe. I don't know. I know I couldn't do it alone. So I offer my help and I offer my condolences to those that are basically just dropping out of the system. They say they've had enough. They don't want to struggle anymore. They're just tired of losing. In fact, some people say they're tired of winning. Whatever that one is, right? Winning. Maybe it's too much tiger blood. Maybe they've been hanging around that, what's his name, that character, what's his name, Charlie Sheen. Yeah, there you go. See, it's all about influence and energy. But I hear Charlie Sheen's doing a lot better today, from my understanding. All right, folks, let's wind her down. We're going to be back here on Sunday. I know that for sure. We're going to be talking about change, man. Change. Jim says, horrible secret problem because our problems that we can't solve is constantly telling us we are a loser. And you know what's really interesting is that we know exactly what to do. You see, Jim, You know exactly what to do, right? You're not. Even Mr. Keevan says that you're very correct and intelligent. Mr. Keevan knows. I know, right? Antonio knows. We all know. Race knows. Laura knows. Mark knows. Out of time knows. Antonio knows. The situation is this. We know, we just don't have the proper accountability. Yeah. It'd be cool if I could clone myself and just like give myself away to people and be like, when people are struggling with gambling, they can just uh, pull my clone out, right? It pops out on your phone or what have you, and there I am. You're talking to me about your freaking addiction, but it's not me, so I'm not. I don't care about it. You're talking to my clone, and of course, my clone has all the information that I've ever gathered over 58, 59 years. You're gonna get kind of the same vibe, except it's a different electricity. Yeah, you're gonna get the same kind of vibe. That'd be interesting, be able to do that. And of course, that wouldn't be, I'm sure that wouldn't be, might be a subscription. Yeah, if you were to clone yourself and people can just pop you open on their app. Yeah, subscribe. Hey, 10.99 a month, 19.99 a month, and you have your full access to your own little Soldiers of Self Mastery clone. What would Soldiers of Self Mastery do at this point? You just hit the biggest jackpot of your life. You pull out my clone and it says, well, here's what I would do. Anyways, I know you got to become curious about things. And is there a live tomorrow night? I'm not sure we're going to have a live tomorrow. That's why we went live today. Um, we've been putting up videos, very short videos, to help those of you that are serious and committed about change. We're putting up little videos that are questions. They're 15-second videos. They are questions. They are questions engineered to get you to think, so that you can start moving, so that you can start feeling something inside yourself into the right direction. Those are 15-second. 15. Oh, I forgot to pay the PG&E PG&E light. Those are 15 seconds videos, folks. One thing that I've learned over the last several years is that you that watch videos, you're struggling with your life. You're struggling with your own mindset. There used to be a time where you could watch a 10-minute video, an 8-minute video. Those the gambling and the drinking or the pornography or the masturbation or the overeating too much peanut butter and jelly, even drinking too much Coke. That's all just a cover up. That's all it is. It's just a tease to soothe a little something there that if you keep looking back enough, you'll see. Oh, wait a minute. This is why I'm doing what I'm doing. All right. Last. I wish there was a pill to take for gambling addiction. Well, there are. There actually are pills that you can take. There are prescription medication that you can take for gambling. It depends on what you're going through. You talk to your doctor. Of course, they're going to sell you something. It's all part of the pharma, friend. It's not. They've got alcohol. They've even got weed. I've tried the gummies, not the weed, but the gummies that are specifically for vegan and for your stomach and for pain and this and the other thing. Well, they're okay. They don't. It's a natural thing, the herbs but still. Yeah. All right. I think the fear of embarrassment is powerful. Perhaps we can threaten ourselves with embarrassment. Be a way to fight our addictions. Let me see that again. That's going overboard there, Jim. I think the fear of embarrassment is powerful. Okay. Yes. Perhaps we can threaten ourselves, okay, threaten ourselves with embarrassment. But we're already doing this, Jim. You see, people laugh at us all the time. I know people laugh at me all the time. I just don't care. I don't give a shit what people think of me anymore. If I did, I wouldn't be here in front of you guys. But we do this. We threaten ourselves. In fact, not only do we threaten, we actually go through with these rituals. We actually go through with these weird rituals that cause us to do the shit. You know, somebody says we should all over ourselves. Well, I know that we should do this and should do the other things. And yes, we should all over ourselves. But personally, I think we shit all over ourselves. Why? Because we talk ourselves out of the things that we should do the opposite. What we should be talking ourselves into, you talk yourself out of. So it's the opposite thing. Right? We know what we need to do. We know. Let me see. Dignity. What is the difference between dignity and not caring? Yeah. What is the difference between dignity and not caring? Well, you can become numb. I think if, again, environment, right? If you put the right person, you put a good person in the wrong environment, that person's going to eventually become corrupted. If you're a business person and you're doing business and you know that you're doing things that you shouldn't do, right? Why are you doing those things? You know, there's a reason. Again, it's a Band-Aid. It's a cover-up. I was thinking about the meat truck. I saw the meat truck driving down the freeway. It's actually not a meat truck. Well, it's it's a seafood wholesaler, I believe. They bring meats and seafoods and different creatures of that sort. And it said free delivery. So they're from San Jose and they're coming all the way to Stockton out here. And I'm thinking, wow, that's interesting that people are doing free deliveries. But no, it can't be all the way from San Jose. They would have to charge. It's either that or they would have to buy a substantial chunk of the whale, you know, and then it would be a free delivery, I guess. What was that all about? I don't know. A gimmick? Could it have been a gimmick? No, it's just a play on words, I guess. Anyhow, how did I drift off into that one? Well, very simply, but someone did give me one of these. I don't know if you can see it. They gave me one of these. I took my daughter to the car lot and she ended up getting a Jeep. I think it was a bit overpaid, but she liked the Jeep, so she's paying for it. And they gave me this. I dropped it and I cracked it, but they gave me this thing. I don't know if you can see it. At the Toyota dealership in Tracy. Well, Ronnie Lott, who happened to be, I'm not sure if he's still alive. I think he's still alive. He was a football player. Ronnie Lott for the San Francisco, I think the Niners. Anyways, that's his lot there. That is his. Tracy Toyota belongs to Ronnie Lott of the 49ers. And I remember when they opened up years ago, I was there and it was kind of interesting, a big thing. The football star was there and He was shaking hands. Anyways, they gave me this this coin, and it's just for service, military service. Tracy Toyota thanks you for your service. And anyhow, thank you, folks. I got to get off the airwaves. You guys have been a kind audience tonight here. It is tough because we all influence one another. It's like our actions are a reminder of who we are. Where does it come from? Well, we also have Ronnie Lott for 49ers. Yes, still alive. There you go. Yep, Ronnie Lott, Tracy. Well, Jim, one thing that we can count on is we can definitely lay down. Hopefully, if we haven't slept yet, we can lay down and hopefully recover. There's a recovery process that's going through tonight. And hopefully, as we lay down with good thoughts and good prayers, right? Good scriptures, if you will, good proverbs. I like to think about the Logos, the Word of God, the tree of life, and the leaves. The leaves are like the healing for the nations. I think about the pages of the Bible. They're leaves. They're like leaves, like healing when I read. And so tonight, as we go to bed, as we lay down, we will recover. You will go through a recovery, whether it's 3 hours or 4 hours or 6 hours. Some people need longer. There's a recovery process. Let it work on you. Go to bed tonight and think about what you learned about change. And think about what it is that you must do. Maybe you're procrastinating. Okay, well, you procrastinated enough. Tonight's the night where you say, I'm going to put this into play. I'm going to do this. You know what? I'm going to start thinking about it tonight before I lay down and go through the process of recovery. God operated on Adam. It says that he put Adam into a deep sleep in the book of Genesis, and he opened up his rib cage and he took a piece of the rib and he made a woman. And then whatever anesthesia God gave him, he didn't feel it. Adam didn't feel it at all. It says that he closed up the flesh. And then next thing you know, there's a woman. Now, of course, the woman was made from the same components the man was made. The man was made from the dust of the earth. The woman was made from the dust of the earth because she's made from man. But it's interesting. Anyways, we're talking about the operation of God and how God allowed Adam he sealed him up and he went back to sleep and when he woke up, boom, there was Eve. He's like, where did you come from? She's probably looked at him and where did you come from? Well, God made me. And anyways, so on and so forth. All right, guys. Until Sunday, we will be going. Yeah, thank you, Ronnie Lott, for 49ers. Finding worth in the beginning of change. Just studying, just learning just thinking about the word change. And again, it's like, it seems so dumb that we have to go back to basics just to think about and create an environment to get us thinking right again. And if that's what it takes, then that's what we have. Sometimes we just got to go all the way back to basics. Create environment, create environment. What is, get us thinking again? What is change? What we're so confused these days. We don't even know what the word change means anymore. We might think that fucking quarters. We're talking about change. We're talking about actually self-education. You might think we're talking about fucking pennies and nickels and dimes and shit, because that's change also, right? Isn't it? Right? You might be thinking, so, well, he's talking about the weather, change of weather and stuff like that. No, we're talking about personal, self-educational, motivated change for the right things. All right, folks, I'm going to see you on my next live Sunday. Again, thanks for the moderators. We didn't need any. Tonight wasn't a heavy presence, so we didn't need any moderation going on. Let's move on into recovery. All right. Hey, and if you can support this mission, a subscription, a like, a comment, a share, or even $7 donation, it's going to the right place. I'll see you at the top on the inside on my next one. Remember what I said about recovery. What you go to bed with tonight, you're going to wake up with in the morning. If you got shittiness in your mind tonight when you go to bed, you're going to have a big poop to take in the morning. I'll see you on my next one. Peace through strength.